What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. I hope you guys are ready for today because we got some comics coming at you. We are starting today off with Sins of Sinister, coming directly out of the pages of Immortal X-Men, coming from writer Kieron Gillen, having artist Lucas Wernick, along with a whole slew of other artists that do contribute to this comic. And for those of you that have not been following along, understanding what Sinister has really been up to in founding the mutant nation of Krakoa and granting mutant kind the gift of resurrection, many compromises had been made. One of the biggest ones was Sinister, Nathaniel Essex. They granted him a place on Krakoa's ruling body. But of course, Sinister never stopped his scheming, always trying to do the best for himself. The most notable thing that he has done is taken a Moira clone, and he has been using her mutant gift to reset reality so that he can make it to his own advantage, giving himself save points to be able to do over important parts of his plan that he may not have gotten right. And after Sinister's many attempts of trying to take out the Quiet Council, it took him 10 total tries, but he was able to take down Hope, Exodus, Emma Frost, and Charles Xavier. For these crimes, they had thrown him into the pit. Unfortunately, the newly resurrected Charles Xavier, he appears to also be a Sinister. Now, make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, this is the story that I have been waiting for, that I have been so freaking excited to have come out. This story drops us 10 years in the future from when he got dropped into the pit. We see a Sinister that is hatching eggs, all of them reaching up to Sinister. He says, "To me, my me's." But to get to this 10-year mark, we have to start in present day. And in present day, just recently, he went after the Quiet Council. As soon as he did and he recognized that they were coming after him, he booted up one of the Moira clones. And so this is one of the timelines that he is testing out. This is his first attempt at it. So we're gonna see how it all plays out until he ultimately decides to reset it and start all over again. That, of course, is if he is not successful. If Sinister is able to get everything right, there would be no point in restarting everything. Now, as we pick up in Charles Xavier's room, exactly where we left off with Immortal X-Men, we have Emma Frost, Exodus, and Hope that all come into the room. We are quickly learning that they are also Sinisters, all of them being able to hide their diamonds when they are around other people, but when they are with one another, they are more than willing to show off that red diamond. This is letting us know that when Sinister killed the Quiet Council, or at least a good amount of the members, when they were resurrected, they had been tampered with. This was all a plan by Sinister, and with their resurrection, Sinister has taken over. Though he may be in the pit, these other Sinisters, they are running everything. That is when Charles Xavier goes on to let everybody know that with Sinister being gone, it is time to reconsider their program. No more reformed criminals on this Quiet Council, but he wants a new Krakoa. He wants a kinder Krakoa, wanting to share more with humans and give them accessibility to immortality. Emma Frost playing her role, she objects to it, saying that they must take care of themselves, that you have all the dead Genosians that have yet to return. But Charles, the Sinister Charles, he believes that the bigger stake humanity has in Krakoan success means that they will not attempt to attack. While the deliberation goes on, this is where Storm interjects. Storm, not taken over by a Sinister because she cannot die. If she dies, it is a permanent death. And this idea of sharing more of the immortality with humankind is something that she is on board with. but the practicalities are what concern her. Is this something that they can actually do? With Charles going on to say that Forge more than likely has the skills to pick up where Sinister had left off. Now we're gonna jump 1 year into the future. We have the reporter Ben, who is going to JJ. The two of them are meeting in secret, with Ben pulling out some kind of device from a suitcase. He grabs JJ and he sticks him with it. After seeing the results, he is relieved because Jonah is still the same individual. He is yet to be taken over. This is where Ben goes to explain that the mutant gift, having the limited X gene implanted to guarantee their immortality, he has the evidence to prove it was all a Trojan horse. That if you have this gene, you can be taken over at any time. And even if not, it still warps you, pushes you to your worst impulses. They have had politicians all over the country that have already taken this. He knows that the X-Men Krakoa, mutant kind, they are pushing to take over the world with smiles on their faces. This is when Jonah exposes that he in fact has been taken over. He is a Sinister. Jonah going on to explain that mutant kind is the one that put out that test. But it was all fake. It was all done to lure paranoid individuals like Ben. As dozens of other individuals cram into the room, they grab Ben and they take him out of here. That is what takes us back over to Krakoa. With Forge now being a Sinister, he has created a weapon that will destroy Krakoa. As we see a bolt of energy land on this island, Cypher having a conversation with Krakoa. That is when a Sinister Wolverine comes in from behind him and he opens up Doug's chest. That is when Emma Frost talks to the world, bringing a very grim message. They are blaming this attack on Orchis, letting the world know that Orchis killed their living island. They wiped the banks of all psychic imprints. And while they have another method to retrieve mutant ones, the humans' minds are lost forever, that their immortality has been stolen away from them. Emma Frost saying that they will act against Orchis immediately, with the Avengers joining the ranks in the fight against Orchis. This was no fight that Orchis could win, even with Nimrod on their side, with Moira Sentinel letting Nimrod know that he needs to run, but Nimrod refuses to stand down. Between the minds of Forge, Reed Richards, and Tony Stark, they are able to take down Nimrod, with the day being won. Orchis no longer on the map. There may be small remnants that were able to make an escape, but Orchis has been defeated. And then there's a conversation between Captain America and Cyclops. Cyclops talking about maybe getting that X gene so that Captain America has immortality, making him a quote-unquote honorary X-Men. And as we are taken back over to Krakoa, this is where we have the return of Sinister, now being able to take himself out of the pit without any concern that anybody may interfere. All of his minions begin to report into him, letting him know how the plan has progressed, that Krakoa is dead, Earth is compromised, and there is no one left to know that he has been released from the pit. This is when Sinister goes to his secret hideout. As he sits here and he talks to himself, we are learning that he did in fact hide something in everybody's DNA, giving them access to his gene library. He had promised, of course, that he wasn't going to tamper with anything, but we know Sinister, and of course he was lying. He had buried a copy of himself and a little bit of extra spice in everybody's DNA sample. Anytime anyone died, they'd be compromised when they were brought back. This seemed to be a perfect plan. The only problem, it didn't work out how he had planned. It had taken him a lot of Moira resets to truly understand what was going on. The problem was always hope. Whatever her weird mutant gift is, she was fixing all the meddling the Sinister had been doing. She had to be the one to be compromised first for the whole thing to be compromised. But killing Just Hope would have been suspicious. That is why he killed as many members of the Quiet Council as he could, and then getting himself thrown into the pit. This means that he is away and no one can point the finger at Sinister. And now, the X-Men are all his. The X-Men are him. Everything is Sinister forever. Now he's going to sit back, he's going to watch as this commences, planning to sit the next 5 years out and just observe. Getting reports that Thanos was going to attack yet again as he tumbled through the time streams. A psychically manipulated Juggernaut volunteered for this mission, hailed as a hero as he was loaded into a forge-crafted temporal cannon, temporarily miniaturized via an application of Micromax. Hope borrowing Domino's powers and taking the shot. We saw Thanos' brain matter is scattered across 2 billion years of history. Juggernaut emerging into reality, left accelerating into space. There has yet been no attempt to go out and retrieve him. And of course, Victor Von Doom, recognizing that Krakoa was becoming too powerful, he went to Namor. He went looking for an alliance. It was only too late that he recognized Namor had already been taken over, and so Doom is replaced by a clone, fully under the control of mutants. There is a solo remaining Doombot claiming the mantle of Doom. There have only been a handful of number of sightings, but what remains of Orchis, they say that Doom is working with them. So it is possible that Omega Sentinel and Doom are working together. Next is the Eternals. The Iraqi people, they release Uranos. That 1 hour that they have, they open up the gates to the machine and they let him go loose. The Eternals are defeated. They are safely stored away in a stasis engine, and Uranos, he is sent back to his prison. When it comes to the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards is considered to be too dangerous, an unmalleable individual. Many people believe that he put in some kind of psychic lockout. He put in failsafes to prevent any kind of gross tampering. The only problem, Reed Richards isn't the only one on the Fantastic Four. Ben is the one to be compromised, a Mystique gene allowing him to return to his human form. After the Sinister gene had done its work, he wanted one more thing, for them to die like he had lived. And so Krakoa provided a mission passing through cosmic rays. The Fantastic Four had disappeared into the void to never be heard from again. And then it comes to what is left of the Avengers. The Avengers are pushed to increasingly extreme, antisocial, and very dangerous actions. This climaxes in war, when Captain America takes control of the US government after murdering the sitting president. Thankfully, the X-Men were there to save the day. By the end of the X-Men Avengers War, the X-Men are all hailed as Earth's mightiest heroes. That is what brings us to 5 years into this timeline. At this point, sitting around the Quiet Council, Storm is one of the few individuals that has not been able to be tampered with. At this point, she has also recognized that Nightcrawler is not in fact Nightcrawler, that this is some kind of replacement. This is where we see the main Sinister come into the room, having Nightcrawler but severely turned, changed, manipulated. Sinister has been messing with his genes. Storm not understanding how Sinister is here. He was supposed to be in the pit. This is when it is also revealed to her that everybody on the Quiet Council, they are Sinister. Sinister going on to let Storm know that she has always made things hard. Deleting herself from the Resurrection Protocol meant there was no killing her to bring her on board. Psychic meddling was too much of a risk. But at this point, they are left with no other option. Emma Frost and Charles Xavier are going to do their thing. What they were not aware of is Storm took precautions. She recognized that things weren't going right. That is where she uses Laktuka. He had sewn in a defense into Storm's mind, that her mind will become linked with his infinite one. The intruders will be pushed away because one cannot hold the ocean between their fingers and come out the other side. That is where we see the storm come down. The lightning, the thunder, the hurricane winds. Storm recognizes she has to get out of the situation. Leaving the Quiet Council in rubble, she takes off to Peru. And this is where she runs into Destiny and Mystique. They took off at the very beginning of all of this. They have been laying low and hiding out. Destiny letting Storm know that they are going to lose this fight against Sinister if they are not working on the same side. With Sinister no longer concerned about Storm, at least for the time being, Sebastian Shaw becomes Krakoa's emissary to the various hells. Thor had left the Avengers as they had turned evil, retiring to Asgard in depression, with Sebastian Shaw making a Hellforge deal. He was able to borrow a certain sword. With that sword and magic, Asgard and all of its inhabitants, they are propelled away from Midgard. Sinister going after the Scarlet Witch for no reason other than just in case. This is also where we have the first generation of true Chimera that are born into the world, splicing two X genes into one body. With Storm believed to be hiding out on Arakko, attempts to detain and murder her have all failed. Evasion of Arakko with the Stage 2 Chimera. This allows an insert of a Legion clone into the planet's core. With a psychic prompting, 2 seconds of complete loss of control. This is more than sufficient to end this entire planet. But Storm's fate, it is still left unknown. That is what jumps us 10 years into the future. Everybody is lining up to get their X gene. And while we have Foggy out here trying to let everybody know that this is nothing more than control, that you have to stop, we have Spider-Man, or what was once Spider-Man, now going by Night Legion, letting them know that this is all for the good. It is all for the better. Grabbing Foggy and taking him off. Sinister lets it be known that the people are here because they don't know. The people are begging for this. Now that they have control over everything, there is no longer a reason for them to hide their diamonds. They flaunt them, they gloat them, they expose them to the world. Now, the other members of the council do bring up the concerns of the empires that are out in space, that inevitably they are gonna come. They are gonna try to take us out. There is also what remains of Orchis. There are still many threats that are left. And while the main Sinister says that none of this is really of concern, Emma Frost, she says why not put this up for a vote? As they prepare for their space war, the main Sinister is a little bit confused, even surprised. He believed that he had more pull around here. This is when he learns that the other Sinisters, Charles Xavier, Emma Frost, Exodus, and Hope, they have all been tampering with things just a little bit. While they are the Quiet Council of Sinisters, they believe that they should all be ruling together. Now, Sinister recognizing that they've all teamed up together. For the time being, he says yes, of course, this all makes sense. As he takes off and he goes to his secret hideouts, he curses them, recognizing that this all went to hell. He needed their personalities, but he believes that he gave them too long of a leash. He was hoping that he had gotten a little bit farther in all of this, but he learned a lot. This is much better than most of his first Moira runs. So now he wants to sweep the board, clear it all out, and start over again. But his teleport does not work. And so he has to go there physically, knowing that he is going to have to move the location because going here physically has gave it away. But as he makes his way down into his laboratory, what he finds is that it is all gone. Somebody has stolen his lab. Someone has stolen his Moiras. And now he is trapped in this timeline. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. There is a lot going on here, but for the first time, we are seeing him actively use the Moira clones. We are seeing what one of these trial runs look like for him. And this one has gone relatively successful. But now that he is stuck here, throughout the Sins of Sinister line, we are gonna jump 10 years. We are gonna jump 100 years. We are gonna jump 1,000 years into this future. We are gonna get lines such as Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants, Nightcrawlers, immoral X-Men, as well as the main Sins of Sinister storyline. So we're gonna see a little bit of everybody, what they're out doing, how they're doing it, and how this is all going to reach its ultimate climax. We have yet to see any of the other Sinisters that we know are out there in existence. Having the Spade, the Club, and the Heart Sinister still alive, undoubtedly one of them are responsible for stealing the lab and the Moiras. Now they have access to restarting the timeline. I think my biggest question is, where does this all end? How long has Sinister been restarting these timelines? If we were to go back to the very first moment that he restarted a timeline, where would it put us? Would it put us in the early days of Krakoa? Could we see an entire reboot going all the way back to the first time that Sinister had killed a Moira? I, for one, am very excited to find out where all of this is leading. But let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you would like to get completely caught up on everything going on with Immortal X-Men, be sure to check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It is going to get you caught up on everything that have brought us to Sins of Sinister. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having 5 different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to getting free comics every single month. Not only does this help out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you are unable to do any of that, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.